Tom Nook, everyone's favorite cute little bloodthirsty capitalist. Sometimes he's a ruthless loan shark that degrades his employees, and other times he's a civil servant that's an all-around stand-up guy. Today, we're gonna look at Tom Nook's character in every Animal Crossing game and rank him from worthless to elite. Starting with the series' Western debut, this little bastard on the train won't stop yapping at us, but he calls his mysterious friend and tries to get us set up with a place to stay in this brand new town. That little buddy of his just so happens to be Tom Nook. Right when you leave the train station, he introduces himself as the town store runner. Oh, so he's a hardworking, super personable guy. I like him. Never mind then, that's a pretty big move. But he's still the only one that wants to quote-unquote help us in this new town, and shows us to a house we can live in. He said this place was cozy. We go back out, he monologues about everything we need to know about the town, then gives us the price, and makes it seem like he's doing us this big favor by lending us this house, because people with no money can't buy a house. Hang on, I don't know what country this game takes place in, but I just gave you 1,000 bells, and the house costs 19,800 bells. A conventional home loan for a primary residence here in America requires a minimum 5% down payment, and since he knows we're moving in there and is a real estate investor himself, he knows this all too well, and $1,000 is well over 5% of 19,500, so this is actually right in his price range. Sign me up for a house that f***ing cheap, but still, he's not really doing us a favor. He's doing what any bank in America would do if he had a decent credit score. But he's still the good guy, don't you know? Come work for my store to pay off your debts, brokey. He scolds us for showing up late to work when we literally headed right over there, makes us change in front of him, and makes us do landscaping work for the store out in the smoldering sun. From that point on, you're basically his bitch, and he has all the power over you until your loan is paid off. And once it is, he offers you home expansions for additional payment. But if you don't want any of that, you're a free man, and Tom Nook doesn't own your ass anymore. He still runs the store, and you can sell items you find to him, and he'll buy just about everything, which is extremely helpful. He's not a very good person in this game, but his usefulness is undeniable. He's the tutorial, has a real estate empire, and runs an ever-expanding store, so I gotta put him up in elite. An elite. This game gives Tom Nook way more backstory than we ever needed in an attempt to humanize this rather cold character. It's not a story-driven game, and there's no cutscenes or anything to actually show us, but Sable tells us these stories of her youth, and a lot of them involve Tom Nook. Apparently, they were really close when they were younger, and they kinda grew up together. But when they got older, Tom Nook moved to the city to pursue his dreams and failed catastrophically. He was wronged by a bad business partner and lost pretty much everything. A once lively, naive, and ambitious young raccoon was hardened by the harsh realities of a corporate city life. So he moved back to his hometown, tail between his legs, and felt like a complete failure, and it took a long time for him to crawl out of this depression. But as we can see by his role in this game, he very much did, and is now a successful businessman who took two smaller Tanukis under his wing as apprentices to help them avoid the failures he endured in his life. This game really makes you understand this character, and it makes him a lot easier to root for. This is Tom Nook's most sympathetic role. It's just too bad you only see it through these super obscure dialogues with Sable. But still, he's just as important as he was last time, and with all the added lore, he's going right back up there in elite. Can we stop glazing this guy, please? This game has a bigger focus on city life than the previous games, and given all his traumas laid out in the last game, that's not something Tom Nook wants to take much part in. So despite the huge focus on this main street and city-like area, Tom Nook's store remains in the rural part of town, staying true to his established character, but also making him feel a lot more disconnected from everything else that's going on in the game. He still runs his shop and hires us as an employee, but not being involved in the main gimmick of the game makes me have to lower him to just kinda important. New Leaf marks one of the biggest shifts to Tom Nook's character in the entire series. He takes off that nasty old apron and puts on a sweater. No, he decides to full-on dive into real estate, and leaves his general store to his adopted sons Timmy and Tommy from the start. This is the first time his store really has much competition too, thanks to stores like Kix and especially retail entering the fray. Tom himself starts the business Nook's Homes, where he handles the construction, expansion, and renovation of homes throughout the town. And this time he lets you pick the exact spot you want to put your house in, which is a big plus. But this incarnation of him is a lot less prominent than before. He's just not seen all that much. He doesn't greet you at the beginning beginning when the rest of the town does. He doesn't make you work for him, and he's only really seen when you want to upgrade your house. He also loses the role of unofficial series mascot to the new character Isabelle, who's a much friendlier face that fits a series of feel-good games a lot better. But that's a pretty big step down for him, and it's worse because you get even more power over him thanks to your new position in government. Civil servant my ass. You answer to me now. The power balance definitely shifts a little, but we're still in debt to him as long as you want to keep making your house bigger, and his full-on real estate venture is a pretty positive step forward for his character. But in terms of usefulness, I gotta put him in kinda important. In the first of the Animal Crossing spin-offs, they fully flesh out Tom Nook's venture into real estate and build a whole game around it. He runs Nook's homes once again, but apparently it's expanding like crazy, because now he's got this big team helping him and also focuses on interior design to make all the villagers' dream homes a reality. He's mostly hands-off though. He greets you at the beginning and plays a decent-sized role periodically, but as a member of the team, you're mostly working with Lottie, Digby, and Lyle. Tom Nook is up in the office doing paperwork and looking for clients, which makes his role a vital one, especially because we're still technically his employee, but it doesn't feel like it did in those first couple games. Maybe that's just because he's a little more mellowed out and friendly, and less of an intimidating, kinda rude character, but I don't know. He's more successful than we've ever really seen him, even if he's less involved directly with the player, so I'm still gonna give him an elite. This disgusting game does feature Tom Nook's first ever playable role, and that's normally a really good thing for these rankings, but when gameplay involves walking around a board and rolling a die, I just can't give him that much credit. He's about as involved as he could be in a crappy party game, but being built around the use of amiibo, and his not being bundled with the game like Isabelle and Digby's, makes him basically a DLC character. And even with the amiibo, this is the least integral he's been to any Animal Crossing game to date. Worthless. In the weird mobile version of Animal Crossing, Isabelle solidifies her role as Tom Nook's replacement, being the one that greets us when we show up, giving us the tutorial, and being an integral part of the camp throughout the game. You want to know what Tom Nook does? Well, since the store OK Motors covers all your RV needs, he has no role whatsoever, only making a small cameo when you buy his chair, have Cyrus craft it, and set it out for him to chill on. Yeah, he just lies there sleeping, and even when you do talk to him, he doesn't have any objectives or even hints for you. He's more worthless than he was even in that last game, so... Animal Crossing New Horizons finally shows us why Tom Nook had his little hiatus there. He was working on all of this, the Deserted Island Getaway Package. Nook Inc. has grown tremendously since we've last seen it. They've got their own phones, his own frickin' airline with a Nook Miles system, and these new island vacation packages. This dude's getting into every industry, and it's booming for him. The kids run the general store, and he's the head of island management and development, basically second in command behind the player, which is a big step up from his role in New Leaf. The only real downside is that with this new crafting system, the player's less relying on his shop for essential products and tools, so he's definitely losing some profits there, but I don't care. This dude's expanding his empire like a madman, and has a more prominent role than Isabelle again, so I have no problem giving him one final elite tier. And there you have it. Real quick, if you take your Nintendo Switch on the go a lot and wish it was easier to lug around, you gotta ditch that clunky old dock. It's bulky, flimsy, and really doesn't have a good reason to be. And Accelerate Gaming's portable dock is the solution you've been waiting for. It cuts the unnecessary plastic of Nintendo's and gives you a sleek, durable, and very portable alternative. And it's only $20, so if you want to enhance your Switch setup and support this channel, go grab one now and use code JeremyK to get an additional 10% off your order. There's a very limited amount of uses on that, so redeem it while you can. And if you disagree with me on any of the rankings in this video, leave your takes down in the comments.